And we are live for another edition of Keep Calm and Carry. This time we've got Tundra Tactical on tonight, and I am super excited for everything that's going to go on. Oh, man, this is going to be crazy. I can already tell you the shenanigans and the talk is going to go right off the rails right out of the bat. I had to mute myself because for some reason I'm just discombobulated for some reason tonight. But anyway, let's get into it. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of different things. We're going to rehash a couple different things that I talked about last week, but this time I actually have a guest to kind of bounce things off of them and see how they feel about it. If you're new, by all means, I would appreciate you guys swinging by fitandfire.com. That's my website to supplement everything that's going on with this channel. I actually just put up a couple new items on the website today, which is previous budget conscious minded AR platforms. If you guys are interested in that, I was really thoroughly surprised to see that those sales came back around. So if you're interested in it, by all means, swing by and check that out. Also want to say thank you very much to all of my Patreon members. I sure do appreciate all the support that you guys have been providing me. It means so very much. It's there for you guys to do it. If you don't want to do it, I totally understand it. But if that's one way, that is definitely one way you can support everything that's going on with that. One of the other things that's a big supporter of the channel is Tac Pack. I got my Tac Pack in the mail today, and I am super excited. We're going to run through this real quick because this one's actually a pretty decent Tac Pack. First and foremost, you get this shirt this month right here. This is actually a pretty cool freaking t-shirt. It's like the Misfits, only they changed it up a little bit and made it a Tac Pack t-shirt. So here's your card. You get a card on every single box. And this month, first and foremost, we got the 5.56 tactical muzzle brake, which is right here. That is valued at $55. So that right there, this piece alone is the cost of the Tac Pack. You actually get this brake right there. That's actually pretty decent. Feels really good. Made in the USA. And that is the S-type compact tactical muzzle brake. So that is pretty cool. We have a Work Sharp guided field sharpener for your knives, your scissors, anything that has a sharp edge to it. And there you go. Boom. Breakthrough Clean has their 5.56 bore snake, which is awesome. You can never go without any of those. And a 5.56 sticker. This is actually a pretty cool sticker. I love these things. So that is this month's Tac Pack. Short, sweet, simple. You're looking at $55 on the brake. The sharpener's $35. Breakthrough bore snake is $16. The Tac Pack t-shirt is $25. So let's see my fuzzy math here. That's 60. It's 90. It's 106, and then $131 in this Tac Pack is my fuzzy math. So that's actually a pretty good value. If you guys are interested in that, by all means, swing by Tac Pack. Check that out. I'll have a link down in the description below if you guys are interested. You can also gift a single box to a friend if you'd like to do that as well. So there you have it. That's kind of paying the bills, if you want to say it. I don't get paid by Tac Pack whatsoever, but anyhow, let's see. Right off the bat, Nico, man, I tell you what, you are just crushing it. Thank you so much for the super chat, $20. Let's see here. Do you have a question on that, Nico? You just tossing that in there. Either way, I appreciate it. Toss it out to your question. I'll keep an eye out for it. But unless I'm reading this wrong, I don't see your question on that. So anywho, let's get into it. This week, we've got Tundra Tactical on live chat. Oh, my goodness.
You know how much I love you, too.
Oh, my goodness. I really hope. We were talking about the range day right before we went live, and I'm really hoping that you're going to be able to make range day. Because
I'm trying hard, man.
I know you are. I know you are. And it's just going to be one great opportunity to spoon. So,
and I'm really looking forward to that. Especially, I mean, okay, so let's be honest here. I don't have the opportunity that often to have that kind of we'll call it relationship with not one but two men with more hair than I do.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
And we're starting off on a very weird note.
Well, thank you so much. Nico, by the way, he says, no question on his super chat. He's just greasing the wheels. And hey, I guess that's one way to do it. Right off the bat, you don't know me wants to get his question put in here. Thoughts on Bulgarian Makarov? Do you have any thoughts on a Makarov?
Sorry, I was talking to the wife. What was that?
No, it's okay. You don't know me wants to know if you have any thoughts on a Bulgarian Makarov.
On a specifically a Bulgarian Makarov. I diving into that amount of specificity, I don't. If it's just the Makarov gun itself, I love them. I think they're cool as hell. Ammo is hard to well, it depends on where you're at. It can be hard to find, but it is in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? Not history, but just in terms of collectorship. Not a word, but we're making it one tonight.
Yeah.
Cool factor is at I give it an 8 out of 10 on cool factor.
Yeah, that's
I like it.
I like military surplus weapons.
So do I.
But when it comes to those types of things, I kind of fall into the trap of being more of a collector than a shooter of them. I will say that we had this one cat. He was a second lieutenant at Fort Riley, and at our IDPA Thursday night matches, he would show up with the most random pistols and use them through a match, one of which was a freaking Makarov. And I'm just like, are you serious, dude? He's like, yeah, I got a couple of magazines. I got a whole bunch of this bulk ammunition. Why not? I'm just like, okay.
Tim in chat is saying, he goes, no, Tundra Tactical. Ammo is cheap here. $8.99 a box for a 9x18 Makarov. And that's pretty intense.
But the question is, does it tumble on impact? Like Fort Scott munitions.
God, I had something prepared. I had it all prepared. I'm sorry, Tim. He beat me to it. Tim and I have been plotting and planning all day. But if you don't mind me giving a shout out to the usual suspects here.
Oh, yeah. Go right on ahead.
I just want to say thanks to all the crossover crew coming in, fans of both our channels. We'll give the shout outs to Fan TV, Tim, Big Al, Logan. Obviously, we got some, minor internet celebrities in here outside of ourselves in the form of Big Johnson Guns and Gear.
Ooh.
But the Mil-Spec guy is in here. If you guys don't know who the Mil-Spec guy is, he is Tundra Tactical's writer. He's the guy that makes all of our stuff funny, and I just say it with a personality because he has none. He is still a funny guy. But I want to say hi to all the Fit and Fire fans out there, guys. I am so freaking pumped, if you cannot tell, to be finally on this live stream. I've been in his ear for months. I think we can call it months, saying, hey, when are you going to have me on? When are you going to have me on? Come on, baby. When are you going to have me on?
Yeah.
And he finally capitulated and said, you're fucking annoying. Excuse my French there. And had me on. So thank you, Mr. Fit and Fire, for having me here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It was kind of thrown together at the last minute. I didn't really have a solid plan set forth. But I sure do appreciate you accommodating, especially with everything that's going on your side of the your part of the country. So
you know what, man? Something tells me that it's going to be entertaining nonetheless.
I think so.
I'm getting my whiskey fueled up right now, baby.
Okay, right on. So that's something that I skipped at the beginning of my live chat here. I'm sorry, guys. Let me go back and just say hey, because as always, I sure do appreciate those people in the chat room. Let's get a real quick roll call. I'll just run through as fast as I can. Tim looks like he was the very first in with Fan TV. And then we scroll down a little bit, and I see that Nico jumped in, of course, naturally. We've got the Grim Reaper, Andrew, Dalton Ray. Thank you so much for swinging by, sir. Logan White, always a staple in the chat room. Kevin Ekdahl. Oh, man, that pistol's, ooh, man, starting to get jealous of that thing. He's got a nice little pistol he's pulling together on Instagram if you guys are following him. We've got, of course, like we said, Big Johnson Guns and Gear. And you don't know me, already dropped his question. And let's see who else. The Gun Snob. Hey, fellow Patreon. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. You're such a good guy. Let's see. Scroll down here. Semi-Armed Life is in chat. I love them.
Same
you guys,
here, baby.
Oh man, you guys swing by that podcast if you haven't already. Check that out and let's get episode 10 rolling, guys. Episode 10. I know it's coming out like this Friday, right?
Hey, and I'll just throw it out there. I'm available too.
Exactly. Right on. And then the Mil-Spec guy, of course, naturally, thank you for swinging by. As mentioned before, one of my biggest fans. I think I would probably say one of my 2 or 3 biggest fans, GG LFG. GG is in the chat room. Thank you, sir, for swinging by. And Agent Playboy, very nice screen name. I like that. Everybody likes a little Playboy.
Mm-hmm.
Big Al is in there. Thanks for swinging by. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it swinging by. So, like I said, we didn't really have anything necessarily prearranged, but I did want to ask, one of the big things about Keep Calm and Carry is the idea of being able to conceal carries. And we've talked to several different guests who don't have that luxury. Up north in the Tundra tactical area, what's concealed carry laws like up that way? And do you carry, and what do you carry?
Well, okay, so you've set me up for a little bit of embarrassment. And I'm going to admit this for the first time on camera. So this is a Keep Calm and Carry exclusive first take. So I actually do not have a valid permit to carry at the moment, but I have a good reason for that. Tundra Tactical has and Tundra Media has kind of for the last 2 years overtaken my life, and I've allowed it to lapse. And as I'm sure you know, the YouTube money ain't the greatest thing in the world most of the time, unless you have just wonderful, generous super chat donations like Mr. Nico or your fabulous Patreon fans, as well as mine. They've helped support me for a long time, but it's been out of my budget, to be perfectly honest. Now, recently, I've gotten a job at a local gun range here in the western side of Minneapolis, and that will change. But in terms of laws, obviously there are some, and the whiskey is inhibiting my ability to explain them to you presently. But in terms of like the specifics, Minnesota issues a permit to carry a pistol, and it says literally that. I know that some states their permits say just permit to carry, and that can be somewhat subjective. So our permit to carry allows you to carry a pistol. You technically can carry open because it does not say permit to conceal a pistol. And what I've learned through the Tundra career, if you will, is that Minnesota has a massive, surprisingly massive firearms ownership base, and even more so in regards to carry permits issued. I believe, and I very much, I know that I'm mistaken. You have to forgive my dog in the background, just playing with her squeaky giraffe here. But I'm sure I'm mistaken. But there was another firearms show. I can't remember specifically which one it was, but it ranked Minnesota, or they did like a list of like the highest ratios of permit to carries per capita, or per the population, and Minnesota was like something like number 3 in the nation in terms of permits issued and people who carried. So even though it is a historically blue state, we love our guns up here, and we very often carry. A lot of us do. Quite a significant number of us do.
So one of the things that I was kind of really interested in, and I don't know if you have the answer to this. If you don't worry about it, because I am kind of springing this on you. But let's see, last Christmas before last, I went to Mall of America, and walking into the mall, I'm concealed carrying because I've got my Kansas permit and everything, and it's basically recognized by every state almost. And there's a big sign on it on Mall America that says, no firearms on premise. So if I was to be caught with my concealed weapon, is that it can can they only tell me to leave,
Correct.
or is that
nothing terrible is going to happen to you? So as per the law in Minnesota here, and once again, I'm not a lawyer, you know, so don't take my word as law, but as I know the law, which I'm fairly certain I'm accurate here, they most certainly can tell you to leave, and they will.
Yes, and naturally, if you don't leave, then you're trespassing at that point, and you can be arrested.
And the worst you can be charged with is a gross misdemeanor for trespassing.
Yep. So
I'm sure that's pretty similar with the rest of the country.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, that's one great thing about Kansas, and that's the way it's always been for Kansas. The newest development in Kansas is that you can actually now carry into state buildings. So individuals who go to, say, KU or K-State have the ability to conceal carry on campus.
That's outstanding, honestly.
Yep. So you can carry into state buildings to include courthouses, except for family court. You're not allowed to go into family court, and maybe a few other exceptions. If my buddy Drew Lovelace was in the chat, he could set me straight. But I think those were the only two really big exclusions on that. Let's see. I think
Tim makes a good point in chat. He says, "Here's my CCW rule: if it's concealed correctly, no one's gonna know."
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yep, that's a very good point.
I'm pretty sure most of us feel the same way.
Yeah. At the time, I was carrying. I had just started carrying appendix. I was carrying a Glock 26, and I didn't have my setup just right. So I was really self-conscious. I kept on kind of doing the shirt tug and then kind of keeping my hands in front of me. And to me, it seemed kind of obvious, but you know, whatever. What are you going to do?
I suppose you got to be looking for it, huh?
Yeah, I suppose so. So last episode, I was talking about some current events. There has been two very interesting, I don't want to say high profile, but there was obviously a shooting in Cincinnati, and then there was a shooting in Denver. And I was going to chat with you real quick to see about your thoughts on the Cincinnati shooting. Naturally, we're not going to get into the specifics behind it, but what was your kind of like big takeaways about Cincinnati?
Well, I will be brutally honest here, and I've not been following the news as of late. So until you had mentioned we were talking about this, I had no idea that it had occurred. Which is, you know, we'll leave that to the masses to decide if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Apparently, the fucking SWAT team has shown up in my neighborhood.
You've been swatted.
I guess. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I got like 6 police cars in the background here right now. Hopefully, it's not for me. But in my research, I did a little bit of digging, you know, courtesy of the old Google machine here. And what I read, I found somewhat interesting. We'll call it controversial, even.
Yep.
Nothing, I guess, that would be terribly out of the ordinary for these, we'll use the dreaded term, quote unquote, here, mass shootings. But the thing that really stuck out to me, I guess, is that prior to the event, the shooter's family even had the guy committed to a mental hospital twice, not once, but 2 separate freaking times. And somehow with all of these super effective laws and proposed laws, it still happened. I mean, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the biggest gripe that you'll see across the gun community is that a mental health is not being taken into consideration. Everybody's quick to jump to their conclusions on what actually happened. Oh, if we didn't have guns, this would never happen. But, you know,
we do have guns.
Yes, we do. We also have knives. And believe it or not, knives have killed more people than rifles have.
No, I can't even believe you there.
Hey,
That's gotta be fake news. Hashtag fake news.
Nope, I saw it on the interwebs.
Oh, it's got to be true then.
It is true.
Wait, does that lend more or less legitimacy to our YouTube channels?
No, I actually, an individual that I really have learned to, I don't hate to say the word admire, but kind of respect, I guess, is KD from NOC, NOC Tactical, and he's a trainer out of St. Louis. I met him at NRAM, and he talked about that this morning. He gave off some very sobering information when it comes to violent knife attacks. But I'm going down a rabbit hole here. But yeah, that's one of the interesting things, that mental health is not really taken into the.
I'm going to echo that, because Andrew in chat says he echoes your echoing of the original statement, and we're not trying to make light of mental health being a big issue, because that's what Andrew says, and he is correct. I've been fortunate enough to associate myself with a lady who ended up deciding to marry me relatively recently, and her mother is in that profession. And I'm sorry, give me just a second. The squeaky giraffe here is going to distract me here, so I'm going to send the dog out. 1 second. Come on, Lex. Come on. All right, we're back. Yep. And you know, she's avidly, I'm not going to say anti-gun, but she's just more, you know, concerned about the greater issue. And by her own admission, not own admission, but by her own analysis, it is significantly based on the mental health world, and that's coming from somebody who's in that profession. And I think that's something that a lot of pro Second Amendment guys and gals and whomevers agree with. And you know, we're beating the dead horse here, I guess, but at least in our community, by saying, like, why isn't this being addressed? Why isn't this the issue that's being covered, as opposed to the tool and the firearm itself, you know, being demonized and ultimately pseudo glorified as the main destructive force in the act. You know, we've all said it, we've all heard it, we've all, you know, argued it. The gun doesn't do damage on its own. It's the person behind it. So how the frig, and I never asked you if I can curse on this, so I'm gonna try to hold my breath.
I like to keep it clean, but you know, whatevs.
How in the blank does this happen with all the laws in place? And I'm being facetious here purposefully, because normally I don't debate politics, but it is something that constantly is in my head. You know, I'm just like the rest of you guys. At Tundra Tactical, we try to live in the satire world only. We try to have a fun, you know, good time and stay away from the political world. But there are certain events, there are certain things that do bring out our desire to make our point known. And this, certainly after reading up on them, is one of them. You know, how is this gross failure of the proposed system allowed to happen, and how do the once again proposed laws in the future, hopefully not, but you know what's being proposed, how does that fix it? It doesn't, does it?
Yeah, it is a, I hate to use this word, it's a slippery slope, and I think Mystery Family touches on a really good point here. And hello, Mystery Family. Thanks for swinging in. He says mental health is subjective. Where do we draw the line on mental health?
Well, that's actually, you know, that's honest to God an interesting point, because the you know, the term slippery slope it's accurate, because that is easily as subjective as some of the laws that we're arguing against currently. So I've never considered that before. Who said that?
That was Mystery Family.
Mystery Family, that's a fantastic question, sir.
So, and I think that's something that we need to, I would say first is, you know, psychiatrists, you know, head shrinks, whatever. I mean, I don't know if I got the psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever.
One of the two.
Right. They do have a basis, which is the DSM-4, right? And that basically outlines all mental health issues. But what are we going to point out to say, okay, if person X has this problem, then they're you know, they're not allowed to have a firearm, or if they have this problem or that problem, you know, and they start just, you know, start spiraling down. I mean, if you really want to get down into the political spiral, the political rabbit hole, you know, what happens when we start talking about, hey, hate even really to bring this up, but the suicide rate being at 40% for the transgender community. You know, there's some people that say, hey, they've got this whole gender dysphoria thing that's actually in the DSM-4. And should we prevent them if they have that? You know, I mean, it's a very good point of where we draw the line.
Yeah, and I mean, gosh, like, I'm trust me when I say this, I'm not defending any form of gun control lobbyist here, but that's got to be a tough job to be, regardless of your political view, be in charge of defining the line, if you will, like you like you said a little earlier. Where does that fall? And I think that's also one of our biggest frustrations as a community is, we have a ton of arguments that are completely valid and completely supported by facts and statistics and things like that, and as ignored as they are in favor of the popular subject.
Yeah,
there's always that.
Yeah, and Alana from Semi-Armed Life, she makes a great point that New York is a perfect example of how it's gone way too far when it comes to mental health issues. Because if you have PTSD or insomnia, you have your weapons taken away.
Really?
You know? Yeah, I would trust her points on that because she is from that area, and I don't know too much about. I don't know too much about New York's laws other than what I've learned from 1776 or bust.
I'm sorry.
You guys just need a kiss on the mouth and make up, you know?
Yeah, we will one day.
Anyhow, so let's stop beating that dead horse
Certainly.
because we could go on forever.
Let's have some fun.
So let me touch on the other shooting here real
Sure.
quick. And that was down in Denver. Did you get a chance to?
I did not, actually. Okay. So I would love it if you could educate me a little bit on that event.
All right. So two police officers get waved down by a shop owner and says, "I've just been robbed. Dude is running away that way." And they look down the street, and no crap, there's a guy with a cash register under his arm. Right?
Wow.
Like walking down the street. So they go to approach him, and he turns around and pulls out a pistol and fires 5 shots at him. Both police officers then return fire, hitting him once in the chest. That ended up being a fatal shot, but they didn't know that at the time. And one of the cops was shot in his right leg, and a bystander was shot in the foot. And that bystander was shot by the robber. Now, this is what is amazing to me is these two police officers had enough training and know-it-all to be able to keep their focus in on the situation and render buddy aid to one another.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So the guy that was shot not only kept his weapon drawn on the perp, but it was also radioing, if I could say the word.
You got it.
In all the specifics on the details to what was going on. The guy, his partner put his tourniquet on. You can even hear him say, "Mark this time as my tourniquet being placed on." Yeah. Oh, yeah. So my biggest question, say to you or to anyone in the chat room, do you carry a tourniquet every day?
I do. I have 2 of them. One stays with me in my cargo pocket at work now, specifically, being that I work at a gun range. And one stays in my vehicle just in case, I come across a situation where I might need to use it. And I don't have the cargo pants that the tourniquet is in. So I do most certainly carry a tourniquet. I've just gone through a refresher course on self-aid. Well, not self-aid buddy care, but, the civilian equivalent. And I'm I'm relatively fortunate enough to live with an EMT who lives downstairs.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So do you have any experience with the RATS tourniquet?
You know what? I do not. I've just been introduced to the RATS tourniquet. Actually, believe it or not, yesterday. I've always only ever had cat tourniquets on me, but I do now know I wouldn't consider myself proficient with them, but I would say that I know enough to be dangerous.
Yes. See, the Warrior Poet said that it's actually an okay tourniquet device, and since he has the most prolific hair on
Oh
YouTube,
my god,
I'm just going to agree with him. I'm just going to
100%.
smile and nod.
Him, I'm calling it right now. Him and Brandon Herrera should have a hair fight.
You know, you just see these two little like these toupees like going after each other or something.
I'm just bitter. I'm just bitter. That's all it is.
Well, you know what? Not everybody can be bald and beautiful, you know?
You know what? I appreciate you saying that. Even though I'm a little nicked up right now, I appreciate you are a gentleman, sir.
That's all right.
If I wasn't married, I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know.
No homo. So
not at all.
With that being said, what pistol do you have sitting right next to you right now?
I am so happy that you asked that question.
I swear to God, if it's a Beretta, I'm going to shut this thing off.
No, it is not, in fact, but it is equally controversial. I'm a 1911 guy, so I have in front of me, sitting here, my Springfield lightweight champion operator. This is the gun that I carry, and I carry at work as well. But yeah, this is my baby. I love it. You know what? Actually, I say I love it. I do. I've owned this. I've had this gun, and I've carried this gun.
I'm hearing a butt coming.
There is. I've had this gun, and I've carried this gun for, I believe, 7 years now. A long time to carry a gun. You know, a lot of people go through carry guns like, well, yeah, we'll skip that analogy, but they go through carry guns quickly, right? And I've always been a fan of this guy, and the main reason I've been a fan of it is it's commander length 1911 with a nice bull barrel, 3.5 pound match trigger. It's got a rail on it, so I can toss my light on there, which you do see on there right now. Love it.
Which light is that? The TLR1 HL?
S.
S. Okay.
So I'm old school. I bought that TLR1 S at the same time I bought the gun, and it is still running.
Oh, very nice. Same batteries and everything?
No, absolutely not. That is due to training and me being an idiot and leaving it on while it is in the carry bag that I use. Because I do not carry this thing in a holster because I have not yet found somebody who is quick enough to turn around and make a holster for the champion operator with a TLR1S on it. So if you know of one, let me know.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'll check that out. So I'd say that again. I'm sorry, I jumped in.
I said that's been my carry gun for a long time. The but is I am now going through the identity crisis of what I want to replace it with, because I've decided that it is, God bless you. You're feeling it. The bug has attacked me again. The CZ bug is there.
Well, I mean, you already wear skinny jeans, so you might as well just go ahead.
I mean, screw off. If you can't tell, Tundra Tactical, or on Tundra Tactical, at least on our live streams, we go raw. We do not censor our imagery here, but I will try my very best to respect Mr. Fit and Fire here and keep my language to a minimum. No guarantees, but I will most certainly try. But yeah, my decision. The only handguns, believe it or not, that I've ever owned have been 45 ACP handguns. I don't know why. I've just always, there's no particular reason. It hasn't been a determining factor in my purchase of handguns. Just the only handguns I've ever owned have been 45 ACP. And I think looking back on my purchase history and my knowledge of firearms in the past, Lexi is making her opinion known right now, has the original reason for the 45 gun 10 years ago was 230 grains, 800 some odd feet per second. It hits like a truck and it puts them down in one shot. Okay. 10 years ago, that might have been the truth. But what I've realized in the modern world is that 9mm is not 9mm from 10 years ago. What I've realized is that 9mm is the most diverse and versatile round out there. You can buy slow, heavy, and hard hitting slow and heavy, hard, regular 9 mil, and you can buy fast and light, really hard hitting 9 mil as well. So you can get that same ballistic performance, terminal performance out of a 9 mil in some cases that you can get out of a 45.
Yep. And one of the things that the versatility is, like what you said, is slow or fast and light, is when you get into some of the hyper ammunitions, which I'm not necessarily one to say those are the best out there, but you get into these, say, I'm just going to throw it out there, like the Fort Scott munitions.
I was just going to say it.
Right. Or the G2 research munitions, where you have an 80 grain or a 95 grain projectile that has plus P powder behind it. Then it gets zipping really, really quick, which ends up increasing the velocity, which then increases the foot pounds on, of energy at your target when it impacts. So, there's a lot of different things. That's a good point. I'm not a caliber snob, unless it's 40 cal. So 45 ACP is just fine for me. I've got my beloved 1911. I meant to grab it before I jumped on tonight, but my 1911 that my pops put together for me as a coming home gift from Afghanistan, and I absolutely love that thing. I've shot it at my very first IDPA match. I shot it there. So
right on.
Yeah. Rock Island, their TAC series, their 1911 A1 TAC series, whether it's the TAC 2 9mm or the TAC 2 45 or the TAC 2 22 TCM, all of those are really, really interesting to shoot. And of course, it's in a 1911 frame. So,
yes.
Heavy is good. Heavy is reliable.
So the reason I was getting all bent out of shape when you raised up that beautiful, beautiful piece of iron that you had in your hands earlier was I'm going through this identity crisis, if you will, please. I am very split, and I'll rely on chat here. Please, chat, render your opinion on this. This is also very whiskey fueled at this point. I just got off work right before I got onto the chat here, and I wanted to catch up on my drinking. So please bear with me. But I'm going through this identity crisis, if you will, of do I want something that is more utilitarian, like we'll say a Glock 19, something that I could possibly carry and even, be marginally competitive with? Or do I want something like that beautiful CZ SP01, I believe?
Yeah, SP01 Tactical.
Yep. Do I want something like the SP01, or maybe even something a little bit more premium, like a Shadow or Shadow 2, to complement what I'm used to with that just butter smooth, hammer-fired gun? What do I want? And I've been struggling with this. One day I wake up, I'm like 100% going with the Glock. I love it. I know I can shoot it. I can hit what I'm shooting at. I don't know, I'm not always as accurate as I want to be, but I know I can shoot it well. And then I play around with CZs for a little while, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh man, that Glock is a tough purchase now, because that SP01 or that Shadow is just incredibly sexy, very, very easy to shoot, and it works. Yeah. So I really don't know at this point in time. And I've been waffling back and forth between those two guns for, I don't know, probably 6 months now. And at one point in time, I am actually going to make a decision. But for the time being, I'm abstaining. I'm hanging out, and I'm going to wait for that definitive question / statement that says, you need to do this because it's the best and why. So if anybody in chat knows which of those two guns I should jump into, let me know, and let me know the reason why you would like it.
I think one of the biggest things that is so appealing for the SP01 and the 75B is the low bore axis that you're going to get out of that pistol. As you can see, there's the edge of the frame right there. So as you can, how tall are the sights off of the actual barrel itself is maybe quarter of an inch at most, at very most. But the downside to it on this particular one is because of that low bore axis, now you lose a lot of real estate to grip this pistol on top to do any type of slide manipulation. So
gosh, it's so funny. That's always been a massive concern of mine in terms of the CZ lineup. Specifically the CZ lineup. And it's something that not a lot of people have said before. And I've always wondered if I've been the only person to have trouble with the real estate on that slide, grabbing and racking that slide. I'm happy to hear that I am not the only person who sees that as not an issue, but a potential issue if you don't train as much.
Right. I'm okay with it because sometimes I shoot with gloves on, but even if I don't, I have the ability to, take my time if I need to. But, that's an issue for some people.
So you know what? I'm going to butt in here, and I apologize for the interruption, but I want you to tell me something. So this Nico guy, right?
Mm.
The guy who gave you $20 earlier?
Yeah.
Is he reliable?
He seems like a pretty cool dude. I've chatted with him offline a little bit. He really helped me get set up with Ken from Provictus Group and training with him the weekend before last. So I think that he knows a little bit what he's talking about.
I should trust his opinion.
I think that you should weigh his opinion accordingly, is what I say. I'm not going to say it's not like me and him drink together, right? So, fair enough. But we've had several conversations back and forth. From my conversations with him, I seem to get the sense that he has some pretty basic, decent knowledge of what's going on.
All right, he's given me some advice here, and he's saying buy the CZ because you're thinking about it too much. And God bless it if I don't agree with you, man.
Yeah, it's really a good point. The other thing about it too is you could really get into a CZ for not too much money. I would say probably about you probably could get on to like gunprodeals.com. And I think at last glance, they had a FDE.
I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah.
I work at a gun store.
Okay. So ignore what I just said.
Understood.
But the point that I'm trying to get at is the fact that you probably could get a CZ for pretty cheap, and it will retain a lot of its value. And if it turns out that you don't like it, just sell it,
Interesting talking point that we just stumbled across here, because my main argument against the CZ here, and this isn't against CZ as a whole, it's an argument against my experience with handguns. And for those of you guys who know who Tundra Tactical is, who know me personally, that I'm not I'm a rifle guy. I don't shoot a ton of pistol. I should, but I don't. And because I've owned hammer-fired pistols for so long, I have wanted, my main argument is I want to see the other side, I want to see the other side of the fence and see what the striker fire world is all about. And that's the reason why I'm waffling so heavily back and forth between something like a Glock, because it's hard to argue with results, I guess. People own Glocks. People have owned Glocks. They've considered Glocks to be some of the best style of guns for, decades now. And that can't be a mistake, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, Alana said that, dang it, Elena, every time, said that, go ahead and buy, Nico's right, go ahead and buy the CZ, but buy a Glock 19 too.
God bless, man, you guys don't know what my budget's like.
Well, I think I Is there a rifle back there that you can sell the?
Honest to God, there isn't right now. It is currently on loan to somebody else so that they can check it out. Because I am all about furthering both the 5.56 and 224 community.
Well, I will have to say that there's been a lot of talk about the Zip 22, and the mil spec guy says if someone super chats another $20, Tyler has to purchase and carry a Zip 22 for a year.
You will have to super chat to me the value of that Zip 22, which, granted, isn't much.
I will have to fully acknowledge my ignorance here. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Eric, or at the mil-spec guy, go ahead and elaborate a little bit more.
Okay.
But the only way I'm buying a Zip 22 is if somebody in chat sponsors my trip down to the IV 8888 shoot. If you do that, then I most certainly will. Just for you, and I will freaking laser engrave your name on the side of it.
Oh, goodness.
I told you it was going to be entertaining.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I love it.
My God.
Let's see. Semi-Arm Life says Forgotten Weapons did a video, so I'll go check it out.
Fair enough.
See what that's all about. So I see a lot of people have talked about the P07, the CZP07, the P10C is actually a really good option as well. A lot of people say it's the Glock killer. So.
And I've heard that many, many times. I've had a couple of opportunities to play around with it, shoot it, test it out. And, gosh, call me controversial and everything, but it didn't blow me away in the right way, not the wrong way. It didn't really impress me terribly. So I wouldn't go so far personally as to say it was the Glock killer, but as we all know in the gun community, to each their own. Opinions are definitely things, and I'm not going to say that one gun is better than the other for anybody else other than myself, because it can be different. But yeah, I was generally unimpressed with the P10C, but I haven't had the opportunity to fire a lot of them. It's been a very small sample size, so maybe if I got some more time behind it, that opinion would change.
Special K jumped in there and also jumped in and said Smith & Wesson M&P 9 2.0 is a 2.0 compact, which is going to be your Glock 19 size. That's a nice option too. I would somewhat agree with that because the price point outside of that, I mean, if you have an extra $100 to spend, I'd say just go ahead with the Glock. So
honestly, once again, keep calm and carry first. Opinion, not opinion. I guess technically this is factual. So Tyler from Tundra Tactical, my current front runner preference for a carry size handgun, a compact carry size handgun, the PPS Mod 2 or M2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That was actually the PPS was my very first carry gun. Mm-hmm.
I'm very impressed. I have not had a chance to shoot it yet. I will throw that massive caveat in there. But in terms of the way the gun feels in the hand, wow.
Yes. I was thoroughly impressed with it. I mean, it is a single stack. I say if you're going to do the Walther,
so is this. I've been used to single stacks for quite some time.
Well, this guy right here, a lot of people like him. I haven't had a chance to shoot it yet, but it is unloaded, guys. It's fairly nice, and it's $200. So
it's tough to argue.
Yeah, it is. People are either going to love them or hate them. I mean, because they see that name on it right there, and they're just like, forget about it, But so far, a lot of people have been singing the praises of this nifty little pistol. So
you got to address Tim's question here. Just right above Alana or Elena here.
Elena, yeah. Let's see. So Tim says, ask Tyler. He should get a high point. They shoot incendiary and like 60 other bad A rounds. Taylor has done a review on it already. Laugh out loud. I'm not familiar with this high point. I would just say just get the Glock 40 problem solver and just be done with it.
You know, something tells me that those might be one and the same. I'm not entirely certain, but I think somebody out there at some point said that. Tim, I love you. Stop tanking the chat.
So the Grim Reaper says that he carries his Glock 19 every single day, but will change to his Sig 365 once I get off my butt and do a video on the holster that he lent me, so I can get it back to him.
So let me ask you a question here. Now that the controversial and very popular but controversial Sig 365 or P365 has been officially brought up by somebody other than myself or you. What are your thoughts on the gun as a whole and the challenges that it has faced thus far?
I've been somewhat disappointed with the fact that SIG continues to go down this road of having their consumers do the R&D for them. You know, I would really expect them to have worked out a lot of these bugs. Not to say that every pistol that is introduced to the market is perfect. You know, the Glock 43 had a recall, the Canik had a recall, you know, so it definitely happens, but I would expect a lot better from SIG, especially how they kind of push that quality, you know, persona on everybody. But from my perspective, I've had zero problems with it. I've had zero issues with it jamming. I've had zero issues with it feeding, firing, ejecting or extracting, ejecting. None of those issues I've had at all. So if you're okay with either A, the weight, or B, the cost, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't pick one up, especially if you can get one that has been produced here recently with the last month or so.
So one of the advantages that I have of working at a gun shop is, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with this at this point, is the fact that I get to see a lot of customers' guns, and I get to hear in real time as they're shooting them people's opinions. I consider this to be very valuable information because it's something that's not thought about. It's the reaction talk. You know, it's not something that they shot it, they went home and they thought about it for a day or two, and then they said something to somebody. It's what they're thinking about that gun and its reputation as they're shooting it. And recently, I've been lucky enough to come across. First of all, let me explain that up here in the tundra, up here in Minnesota, P365s are insanely hard to find. Is that the case down where you're at?
Yeah, they're still fairly difficult to find as well. The only reason why I came about mine is because I got in good with the guys at the counter over at Academy Sports. I gave them my card and said, "Hey, if one comes in, I'd really appreciate a phone call. I'll come right away and get it. You won't have to wait." So
interesting. So I've had about 4 experiences in 7 days of people shooting P365s on the range, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things.
Do you guys have one for the rent?
We do, actually. We don't have one for sale, but we do have one to rent at the range here. And once again, the few people that I've rented the gun to have had nothing but good things to say about it, myself included. I put a couple of boxes through it, and I did have the opportunity to shoot it on my honeymoon about a month ago, albeit very small sample size, box and a half of ammo. At the time, also, I will say I wasn't aware of the primer drag issue. But as I got to shoot it more and more, I liked it more and more. And until I see some actual like first party me experiencing problems with it, I might be going too far out on a limb here and saying I think that might be my front runner for my carry gun. I could be totally wrong, and if there is empirical evidence, please somebody correct me. But I really like it.
Yes, my biggest concern with my pistol right now is the primer drag. I'm just keeping an eye on it and hoping that the striker doesn't have any issues.
You know what? Actually, do me. I apologize for interrupting.
No. Go ahead.
Do me a favor, and for myself and some people who might not be as familiar, elaborate a little bit more on what primer drag is, because I have a very limited understanding of it. Essentially, I watched the Military Arms Channel video on it.
Yes.
As I was like getting ready for work.
Sure.
So I was half listening to it, half not. And it's something I've been meaning to educate myself more on, because admittedly, like I said, I'm a rifle guy and a long range guy. Pistols are not my front runner in terms of where I put my time and my effort into furthering my knowledge. I think it should be, because what I'm realizing working at this gun store is I need to know more about pistols. So my question for you, sir, is educate me. Tell me a little bit more about this whole primer drag thing.
So what you'll see is on the primer of your 9mm spent casing is you'll see kind of like a teardrop shape instead of a perfect circle in the primer, or for like my Glock 19, I have a little, poke into the primer with a rectangle around it, which is basically the surface butting up against the primer and then the striker coming out and hitting it. Well, with the P365, what's happening is that primer's coming out, or excuse me, the striker's coming out and hitting that primer, and the round doesn't have enough, or the pistol, excuse me, doesn't have enough dwell time for that round to eject, and it's pushing that round out before the striker can move. So it's causing that striker to drag against that primer a little bit, right? And that round then comes out and ejects. So that's what it's all about. And what the problem with that is since the striker is a MEM part, what's causing to happen is as that round is coming out, obviously you can see the torque on my finger here, right? That's the same thing happening to that striker, and it's going to break your striker at some point. I don't know if it's going to happen at 200 rounds, at 5,000 rounds, who knows? But there's been individuals that have complained about it as soon as 200 rounds. There's people that say 800 rounds. There's some people that say 1,200 rounds. There's a whole bunch of different information on the internet that really gets into the minutia of it. But that's my basic understanding of what primer drag is all about.
Okay. I know it's an important thing, and it's something that I've tried to educate myself a little bit more on, because I've never heard it before. Watching that Military Arms Channel video, it's the first time that I've ever heard the term primer drag. And I wanted to know how it affects the gun, because once again, in my small sample size, I've heard and seen only nothing but good things. And I'm just wondering, once again, total noob when it comes to issues with that gun.
So Frank says that SIG modified the pin to reduce the breakage, and Mystery Family says primer drag is supposedly a problem for a lot of subcompact pistols out there lately. So and he's actually right, because in Mac's second video, he shows another pistol, and I can't recall what that other pistol was, but it had primer drag as well. So it's not specific to the P365.
Fair enough. I'm responding to the Semi-Armed Life's comment about just singing 90s music at the moment, because I am all about that 90s music. As weird as that sounds on a gun chat.
Yeah, that's it depends on what 90. I mean, I suppose, yeah, when I had Sirius XM, I had I had the station locked on Lithium, which is
Yes, good man.
yeah, 80s 90s rock. So
All right, so let's get to know Fit and Fire here, and I will answer this question as well. Okay,
ah,
favorite '90s band.
Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh man, that's so good. That's
Yep.
so good. He was ready. So I'm going to sound like a massive suck up here. But my favorite band from the 90s was Third Eye Blind because of their Semi-Charmed Kind of Life single.
Yes. Yeah. No, that was a good one. Yeah. I
That
like
is
that
one
song.
of the reasons why I was turned on to the Semi-Armed Life podcast.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, I was a big Stone Temple Pilots fan ever since they came out.
Great band.
I have a autographed CD of all four members, to include Scott Weiland.
Wow.
And yeah. God rest his soul. I wish you really would have stayed off the heroin, but
Drugs are bad. Okay.
okay. So yeah, but yeah, Nico saying Pantera for life.
For life.
Yeah, I never really got into Pantera.
Sometimes you gotta walk, bro.
Yeah, I like that song, but I just I was more 80s Metallica myself.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
can't argue with that.
Yeah, three best albums they ever put out were Ride the Lightning, Master of the Puppets, and Justice for All.
Fair enough.
And they're going to be in Wichita in February, and I think I'm going to go to that and probably spend $400 on tickets because I didn't get with my bro and get him to hook me up. But I have to do it because that's a bucket list type of thing. So
Frank, the resident old guy in the chat is saying at Fit and Fire at Tundra Tactical. Too bad you missed the disco era. I'm going to argue that, sir. Not too bad. I'm very happy that I missed the disco era. But hey, let's get back to guns here.
Oh, that's good. So I did see someone way back brought up. I think it was Tim. He brought up something about. Brandon Herrera's new AKM.
Ooh, the AKG 47 even?
Yes.
I think I just talked to him about that last week on my live stream. Tundra Talk episode 20, in fact, if you are so inclined to watch it.
You guys should check it out. I mean, Brandon, that dude's a genius to begin with what he's trying to do with that AK-50. Glorious. So I saw that come across my YouTube feed, and I immediately jumped on it. I think I was probably one of the first 100 people to watch that video where he was introducing it, and I basically said, "Here, take my money."
Wait, did you buy one?
I've got to finagle some finances with the wife because I got some back pay that came to me here recently, and I kind of want to be selfish with it right now. So this last weekend we hit the casino with some of that money from my back pay, and we ended up not losing any money. Wow. So since we didn't lose any money, through our very well schemed betting on craps, because that's all we play. We play the craps table. We were able to come out $82 a head.
You should teach classes.
It's
fair point.
You actually have to be there for me to explain it. I just can't.
I get it.
Frank's here says your back pays hers. Yes, it is actually.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong whatsoever. So, but no, I think their price point, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to be around the $800 mark, right?
I believe he quoted $899.
$899, which is fantastic.
So actually, you know what? I'm going to interrupt, and I apologize because I keep doing this to you on your own live stream. I'm a jerk. When I had him on last week, I actually asked him what justifies that price tag. And because I think to the average person, and correct me if I'm wrong, please chat, Fit and Fire, please do so. $899 seems a bit much for an AK, or at least what the average, and I'm getting there, at least what the average shooter perceives to be a good AK. And I have since been educated by Brandon as to why that price tag exists, and I agree with it. I think that it is a very outstanding value. But tell me about your perceptions of AKs and their price, because I think this is a great topic because it's something that's not talked about a lot. The AR market dominates the world.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about AKs and what makes AKs cost what they do, and why does an $899 AK for AKG 47 from Brandon Herrera outperform or is a better purchase than a Wasser for 150, $200 less.
So I think one of the major things that the AK has that kind of hamstrings it is because it's one of those evil commie weapons, right?
Sure.
But I'm all about equality, right? I don't care about 9mm, 5.56, 7.62 by 39. It doesn't matter to me, unless it's a Beretta. So,
That's the tanker in you coming out, isn't it?
Oh, God, that dang 92F, man! I swear that thing was the bane of my existence. So, but one of the things that I was grossly unprepared for when I started annoying my wife for an AK-47 as a gift, which she accommodated last year for my 39th birthday. She went out and got me one. Very behind the scenes. She had to do some black ops stuff to make it happen, but she made it happen, which was really, really cool. She ended up getting me a Century Arms C39 V2. I've got a video on it, and I got a lot of flack for that because there is stuff about the rifle itself that I was not prepared for, right? And like the two main things when it comes to an AK that I've been now schooled by listening to so many episodes of the Semi-Armed Life is that you need two things to make a good AK, or to make an AK good. And that is, number one, cold hammer forged barrel. Number two, forged front trunnions.
Yes. And that absolutely echoes Brandon's standpoint on it too. He said the exact same thing. I asked him specifically what defines a good AK versus a bad AK, and he specifically referenced the cold hammer forged barrel, which is, by the way, we're not paid by Brandon to say this, but the AKG 47 cold hammer forged hammer forged barrel, and he specifically said what defines a bad AK, especially American AKs, is the cast trunnions.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And that's something that I got a lot of grief for my C39 V2 is that they had cast front trunnions. Now, that rifle is a gift, so I don't plan on running it hard, so I don't expect it to blow up in my face. It is something that, like I've mentioned in my video and in my comment section, that it's a gift. It's something that has sentimental value. I will not get rid of it. And unless I'm forced to get rid of it for some reason. So my plan is to, I reached out to Mike from Semi-Armed Life of about a month or so ago to ask him what his opinions were, because he's a huge AK fan, knows tons of information about it. And he said, I asked him, I said, what would you say would be a good entry-level AK that is going to be better than, say, a RAS 47,
sure,
right? And he said the RH10, which is the Romanian variant of the AK. And surprisingly enough, Brandon Herrera's AK is based off of the parts.
I was rolling my eyes into the back of my head trying to think if that was the parts kit that Brandon used. And if you guys are unfamiliar with who Brandon is, Brandon Herrera, also known as the AK guy, pretty bold claim, but I think he's earned it. Would you agree?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, especially with what the everything that he's doing with that. I hate to say it again, but that AK-50.
Oh, God, don't hate to say it again. Say it all you want. The AK-50 is freaking cool. The cool factor on that thing alone is, 11 out of 10 on the charts. But yeah, we had him on last week, and I believe it was the second time that he's been on. He's the only guest outside of yourself to be on Tundra Talk twice, by the way. So
nice.
he's entered into that exclusive, we'll call it the Spooning Club. Joke in there somewhere. But yeah, he's got an update on that as well. And yeah, go ahead.
A very good question popped in, and it's not a question, it's more of an opinion. But Andrew asks, let me get his exact words because I don't want to mess it up in paraphrasing. Who thinks that the AK was mostly designed by a German and not Kalashnikov?
I didn't even know that opinion existed.
Oh yes, very much. The MP44.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yep. Right.
Okay.
So
of
the German.
Yep.
The German semi-auto.
The Sturmgewehr.
The Sturmgewehr. Yes. Thank you very much. Struggling to come up with that, but yeah, that thing is strikingly similar to the AK-47. So
that's a great you know, one of the things that we love on Tundra Tactical is controversy. So who was responsible for that question?
Well, that was Andrew.
Oh, Andrew, I would very heavily suggest you check out Tundra Tactical. Get in touch with me specifically, and we might do an entire video on that because I think that is a fantastic Tundra Tactical video.
Oh, that would be so good.
That would be a great video for our personality, if you will.
Top 10 reasons why AKs suck.
Oh God, I don't think I would have a YouTube channel after that. I did a video on the top 10 worst AR-15 accessories, and we put not variable zoom, but flip out optics, the 3x magnifiers on there. Oh my God. I swear to God, I lost 100 subscribers in one day because of that video. Still maintain it though. Still think you should have bought a variable zoom optic, but that's just my opinion, man.
Yeah. Grand Thumb uses one of those flip out optics. So
okay. You know, that's Haley Jr. is tough to argue against. All jokes aside, love him. Super cool guy. Met him at SHOT Show this year, and genuinely nice dude.
Yeah, pretty good.
But yeah, in regards to the whole, is the AK actually German? I don't know, because now that you mentioned the old Sturmgewehr, you're right. Strikingly similar.
Yeah, and that was something that I had known about for years at this point. A lot of controversy with that, and I've actually seen an interview with Kalashnikov where someone asks him that, and he gets very upset about that question. Yes,
like defensive upset.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely not. This was my own design. I never looked at anything. I never even saw one of those, and he contends that he started developing the AK-47 prior to the Germans adopting the Sturmgewehr. So I don't know, I can't say one way or the other. I'm just kind of one of those, the word of the word in our household is preponderance of evidence, right? So
that's a quick hashtag vocab term right there.
Right. So the preponderance of evidence would lead me to believe that Kalashnikov is telling the truth. However, there is 49% of me that says, yeah, they look a lot alike.
It's that close, huh?
Yeah, it's 51-49.
Now the semi-armed life put up in chat here. It's a tilting bolt versus a rotating bolt, and those are two very different designs. So maybe there is some there's some substance to that.
There you go. The AK takes more from the M1 Garand. You take that back. Take it back, semi-armed. You take that back.
That's a Liberty rifle.
Nothing takes anything from Browning's glorious achievement of the M1.
Gloriousness.
I just need my freaking table here. Oh, you got me fired up. I'm just kidding. I don't care.
Did they get you fit and fired up? I'm sorry. That was a bad one. I'm starting to fade.
Wow. Are you a dad and you didn't know? I mean, you got all these dad jokes.
Oh my God. I did spend 2.5 years in Korea.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah,
Kidding.
it's a good
Megan, if
point.
you're watching, please don't listen to
No, no, just haul, let's haul past that comment.
that.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That, damn it. Can we edit that out? No, this
uh,
is live shit.
oh,
Crap. I mean, excuse me.
yeah, it's all right. Well, we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. We can start wrapping things up if you'd
Sure,
like.
sure, sure.
But let's definitely get you on here very, very soon, and maybe we can be a little bit more organized this next time.
Yeah, you know what,
Have a few
man?
more.
Part of what we do here at Tundra Tactical is we like to wing it. And for me personally, like the person that I am, and the reason that my live stream Tundra Talk exists is I want people to see the crapshoot that is me unfiltered. So I really enjoy these less preparation streams where we get to be ourselves. And still, one of my personal favorites has been the first time that you were on, where we both got into the stream like 2 minutes before it was supposed to go live. I had nothing prepared, and we talked about we talked about like military life and our careers for like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot in that stream about what it's like being in your shoes, and that was genuinely entertaining for me. So I very much like these type of streams. But if you would care so much as to have me on again, I would be more than happy to oblige, because not only are you beautiful, you do host a good show.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I try to keep the beard trimmed as best I can.
I'm
So
growing it out.
I have to keep it trimmed back because,
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
yeah. Anyway, so so let's go ahead and wrap everything up. One last question. I did see earlier in the chat room, someone wanted to know, what are you vaping?
What am I vaping? Yes, a question that is asked many times, usually in the form of an insult. But I appreciate you not phrasing that as an insult. I vape a very strong toothpaste flavored menthol, even though I never smoked menthol cigarettes. For me, a lot of the addiction was due to the throat hit of a nice long hot drag on a cigarette. And menthol has been the only flavor on the old choot stick, as I like to call it, that has been able to do that for me. So that is the answer to that question.
So, two very interesting facts here. First and foremost, Semi-Arm Life, thank you so much. That is so awesome. You guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much. Frank
Just
says,
real quick, I get half of this, right?
Yes,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'll send
I'm kidding.
checks in the mail. So Frank says your wife owns your beard. Absolutely, yes, of course she does. And Fan TV, Fort Scott has 115 grain. Fort Scott munitions tumbles on impact.
It does tumble on impact.
Oh my gosh, I'm so stumbling over words. But two interesting facts about Fit and Fire is, number one, my aunt smoked Pall Mall menthols unfiltered most of her life.
Wow.
Yeah, until here, probably when I imagine the last 20 years, she stopped. And she's still kicking, right? So that's number one. Number two is, when I was in Iraq, I smoked 2 packs a day, if you can believe that, right?
Same.
I was a smoker because there was nothing else better to do at that point, and I could get these awesome cigarettes. They were called Royales.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
50 cents a pack, right? So I mean, freaking $20. I was set for a couple of weeks, right? So, but I quit when I came home for a multitude of different reasons. But I knew at the time that I shouldn't be smoking. But again, I needed something to do, and that was just unfortunately the one thing that took my time. So anyway, that was 2 interesting little facts for you guys right there.
A lot, the follow-up question to the whole vaping thing is the reason why I vape. And very similar setup story to you is, Iraq, Afghanistan, I was on 2 packs a day. I get back home. I unfortunately never gave up the bad habit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I meet this lady, right? And it turns out that this lady, also known as Megan, also known as Mrs. Tundra Tactical, her father, in fact, is a pediatric lung surgeon.
Mm.
And, I decided early on into the relationship that, you know what, she's kind of all right. I think I want to keep hanging out with this one. And I had to find a way to kick the old smokes. And the the toothpaste flavored menthol chute stick here is what did it for me.
Yeah, but I mean that's obviously not the best outcome, but it's a better outcome, I guess,
It
right?
is.
So
We're getting there.
yeah, it's baby steps, right? Baby steps.
Hey man, well, Fit and Fire, thanks for having me on tonight, man.
No,
You
thank
are
you.
awesome.
No, thank you. So, guys, if you don't already know, and finally, Rabbi Jesus swings in. Yeah, a little late there, guy.
Yeah,
So,
come on, Rabbi. What's wrong with you?
he said, sorry, had to talk a Marine down. He was having a bad effing day.
In that case,
Mm.
good excuse.
I'll give you a hall pass on that one. So, anyway. I will have details to Tundra Tactical. If you guys are living underneath a rock and don't already know about him, all of his stuff is going to be down in the description below as soon as this uploads onto YouTube. So by all means, swing back around, check it out, and give me another view for this video.
Of course.
But with that being said, I really do appreciate everybody. First and foremost, Nico, you're too much. I appreciate it. And Semi-Armed Life, you guys, I absolutely love you and Mike. We need to definitely figure out a way to get together and do some type of range time or just some shenanigans. We'll do charades. We'll get together and do Pictionary or something. I don't know. But,
hey, I want to say thanks, Nico. I appreciate the sub. We're making the push to 5,000, bigger than you, Fitfire. I'm just kidding. For the time being, at least, I'm sure we'll play back and forth on each other.
I'm sure.
But I want to pay you, Fit and Fire, a little bit of a compliment here. In regards to the cultivation of your audience, I've been paying a relatively whiskey fueled close attention to the chat here. Man, you got a hell of an audience.
Yeah.
The people in chat that I'm not recognizing, you guys are awesome, man. And I'm genuinely happy to see that, you know, somebody who's on a relatively similar level as my channel has an audience that is so fond of you. Because, you know, hey, I consider myself a diamond in the rough, and I thought I was unique, but it turns out you're just as beautiful.
Well,
and I keep saying that, no homo, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
But man, like your audience, and like I said, I'm speaking directly to you guys in the chat right now. Keep it up, guys. Fit and Fire, 100% support on the Tundra Tactical side. We love having them on the show. I am very grateful and for you having me on here, and I have been looking forward to this for so dang long.
We should probably just go ahead and make this like a regular thing. You know,
it's so strange. I'm supposed to be making this a regular thing with Coda Boy 32 as well. So you'll have to fight him for my free time now. But in the meantime, if you ever have a gap in the schedule and need me to come on again, as long as your audience enjoyed my personality, I will be more than happy to oblige and come back on, because the more time that I get to spend with Fit and Fire, the happier that Tundra Tactical is.
Okay. Well, I have to tell you, if are you getting together with Coda Boy this week, tomorrow? When?
Up in the air right now.
Okay.
We're still working out the details. We had him on 2 weeks ago, this coming Saturday, and we liked each other so much that we decided that we were going to attempt to do a weekly Tuesday live stream.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. But
Tuesday night live stream.
Please promise to me the very first one that you do is you blow him a kiss from me.
I understood. Here, hold on. Let me get my hold on. Blow Coda Boy a kiss from Fit. It's an apostrophe in the end?
Yes. Yes. Fit,
okay.
Apostrophe in space fire. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Understood. It's on the official
the show notes.
Yep, exactly. So it's gonna happen. 100%. You guys heard it here. Third time for the first time. if that makes sense, on Keep Calm and Carry. So thanks, Mark. Or excuse me, thanks for having me on Fit and Fire. And
no
my
problem.
gosh, man, totally fun time.
Yeah. So check out Tundra Tactical. You can find him obviously on YouTube. You can find him on the Instagrams, the Facebooks, Twitter. Are you on Twitter?
Occasionally, not as much as I should be, but the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the YouTube, the Google machine, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So the usual places that everybody love, the places that loves freedom anyway. So with that being said, obviously, thanks for swinging by, guys. I really do appreciate all the support. You guys in the chat room just crack me up. The sidebar conversations are awesome, and I absolutely love it. You guys mean so much to me. I really do appreciate it. By all means, take some time to swing by fitandfire.com if you'd like, and also check out Tac Pack. These guys are great. I know it's not necessarily a perfect fit for everybody, but if you're in a scramble to find a gift for somebody, they do offer gift boxes, one-time gift boxes for a tactical buddy. So, and
hey, easy on the cutlery there.
Really freaking, that was my dinner, so I had to scarf my dinner down for this one. But
I will echo your sentiment on Tac Pack, though, in the way you put it, as a perfect scramble gift for the tactical-minded person out there.
Very much so. Very much so. It's pretty cool, and like I said, it's not necessarily for everybody, but they have some really cool stuff. This shirt, I'm gonna dig this shirt. I love the whole Misfit symbolism that they got going on and everything. So anyway, with
by the way, Tac Pack, if you're looking for a future sponsor, Tundra Tactical is available.
There we go. Right on, man. So with that being said, thanks again, guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time to spend this hour and 27 minutes with us on a Monday night. I know you guys are trying to shake the weekend off, but you spent it with us, and I sure do appreciate it. And with that, that's really all I got. You guys keep calm and carry. Have a good night.
Cheers, guys.